Most people believe trust is built through words, promises, and appearances, but history shows that the greatest manipulators rarely look dangerous. They smile, agree, and make you feel comfortable long before they quietly begin using your trust against you. Niccolò Machiavelli believed that understanding people begins by observing behavior instead of listening to speeches. Human beings naturally reveal their intentions through repeated actions, especially when they believe nobody is paying close attention. Real trust is never based on charm alone. It is earned by consistency between what someone says, what they repeatedly do, and how they behave when there is absolutely nothing to gain from impressing you. The Machiavelli test begins with one simple principle. Stop asking whether people like you and start asking whether their behavior stays predictable when circumstances suddenly change or when nobody is watching. Today you will learn 3 behavioral red flags that quietly expose deception long before betrayal happens. These signs are subtle, but once you recognize them, you will never observe people the same way again. Red flag number 1. Never fully trust someone whose personality changes depending on the audience. They are warm and loyal when powerful people are watching, yet completely different when there is nothing valuable to gain. Manipulative people rarely have one personality. Instead, they wear different masks for different situations, carefully adjusting their behavior to maximize approval, influence, or personal advantage without revealing their authentic character. Machiavelli understood that actions performed for appearance are temporary, but habits reveal true character. Watch how someone behaves toward waiters, strangers, employees, or people who cannot improve their social status. One of the oldest FBI interviewing principles is simple. Observe baseline behavior before judging unusual behavior. Honest people remain relatively consistent across situations, while deceptive personalities constantly adjust their performance to match the audience. The first Machiavelli test is therefore simple. Never judge people by their best moments. Judge them by their repeated patterns, especially when kindness, honesty, or respect provide them with absolutely no obvious reward. Red flag number 2. Never fully trust someone who speaks negatively about everyone behind their backs. Gossip feels harmless at first, but it quietly reveals a deeper habit of betrayal, manipulation, and divided loyalty. People often assume gossip creates friendship because it feels like shared trust. In reality, it creates temporary alliances built on negativity. Someone willing to betray another person's privacy today can easily betray yours tomorrow. Machiavelli warned that character is revealed most clearly when people believe their words will never return to them. Listen carefully to how someone describes absent friends, because one day you may become the absent friend. Trustworthy individuals protect reputations even when criticism would benefit them socially. Manipulative personalities often sacrifice another person's image simply to appear smarter, more important, or more connected than everyone else. The second Machiavelli test is simple. Pay attention to conversations that happen when the subject cannot defend themselves. Those moments reveal loyalty far more accurately than compliments spoken directly to someone's face. Red flag number 3. Never completely trust someone whose words and actions consistently point in different directions. Honest people occasionally make mistakes, but manipulative people rely on promises they never intend to keep because words are cheaper than actions. Manipulators understand that promises create emotional comfort long before any real action is required. They know people often judge intentions instead of outcomes, allowing deception to survive much longer than it should. The FBI often studies behavioral congruence because truthful people naturally align their language, expressions, and actions. Deceptive individuals spend so much effort managing appearances that consistency becomes almost impossible to maintain over time. Instead of asking whether someone sounds convincing, ask whether their behavior has repeatedly supported their claims over weeks, months, or even years. Consistency always outperforms charisma when measuring genuine trustworthiness. The complete Machiavelli test is surprisingly simple. Observe consistency across different situations. Pay attention to how people speak about others, and always compare their actions against their promises before offering your trust. Most people fail the Machiavelli test because they trust emotions more than evidence. A charming smile, confident voice, or impressive reputation can temporarily disguise manipulation, but repeated behavior eventually exposes every hidden intention. Manipulative people invest enormous effort into controlling your perception instead of improving their actual character. They carefully manage appearances because appearances are easier to fake than consistent integrity over long periods. One of Machiavelli's greatest lessons is that people rarely reveal themselves through dramatic betrayals. Instead, they expose themselves through dozens of small choices repeated so consistently that most people completely overlook them. Trust should never be given because someone makes you feel special today. It should be earned because they repeatedly demonstrate honesty even when deception would have been easier and more profitable. Real trust grows slowly, exactly the way strong bridges are built. Every honest action becomes another brick supporting the relationship until confidence rests on evidence instead of emotion or wishful thinking. The strongest people are not those who trust no one. They are the ones who trust slowly, observe patiently, and allow time to reveal what charm, confidence, and carefully rehearsed words are trying to hide. Manipulation depends on speed. Manipulators want immediate trust, quick emotional decisions, and fast commitments before you have enough evidence to recognize inconsistencies hidden beneath the surface. Wise people understand that trust is an investment, not a gift. Every investment deserves careful research, emotional discipline, and enough time to determine whether someone's behavior consistently matches their carefully crafted image. When you stop chasing approval, manipulative personalities lose one of their most powerful tools. They can no longer influence your decisions through praise, guilt, fear, or emotional pressure because your judgment becomes independent. Machiavelli never suggested becoming paranoid. His lesson was far more practical. Observe reality instead of fantasy. Believe repeated actions. Question convenient stories, and protect your trust as carefully as your future. Imagine applying this test to every important relationship in your life. Instead of asking whether someone likes you, begin asking whether they consistently demonstrate honesty, loyalty, and integrity when there is absolutely nothing to gain. Notice how manipulative people become uncomfortable when you stop reacting emotionally. Without emotional control over your decisions, they lose their greatest advantage and often reveal frustration through impatience, guilt, or subtle pressure. Real confidence comes from knowing you can walk away from unhealthy relationships. The less desperately you need approval, the more clearly you recognize manipulation before it quietly becomes part of your everyday life. Machiavelli's greatest lesson is not learning how to manipulate people. It is learning how to recognize manipulation early enough that you never become controlled by it in the first place. The purpose of wisdom is not becoming suspicious of everyone. It is becoming observant enough that trust becomes intentional rather than automatic, protecting both your peace of mind and your future. If someone repeatedly fails these 3 tests, don't waste your energy trying to change them. Machiavelli understood that people reveal themselves through patterns, and your responsibility is not to rewrite those patterns, but to recognize them before they become your problem. Protecting your trust is not about becoming cold or cynical. It is about valuing your peace, your time, and your emotional energy enough to stop giving unlimited access to people who have never earned it. The strongest relationships are never built on excitement alone. They are built on predictable honesty, mutual respect, and thousands of small decisions that quietly prove reliability long before words ever need to. Remember the 3 principles whenever you meet someone new. Observe consistency instead of charisma. Value loyalty over popularity. Believe repeated actions more than impressive promises, because behavior is the language that never lies. Never trust anyone simply because they speak well or appear confident. Trust those who repeatedly prove their character when nobody is watching. In the end, your future is shaped by the people you choose to let walk beside you.